All right, all right, all right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce, as usual. Hope you're doing well today. It is Sunday, and what have we started doing on Sundays? We started it last week. We're going to keep it rolling today. It is Slowdown Sunday, right? We're going to just slow it down. We did Little River Band last week, so let's just keep that going, right? It's a nice fall day. Leaves are coming down. I got a lot of choices. I'm going to have fun with this, I think, on Sundays. And I had a couple of choices right off the bat, but I'm going to go with this guy because he's got a few songs that you're probably going to like. But he's got a birthday coming up in a few weeks, too, right near my birthday. He's going to be 82 this year. Canadian, Ontario born. We're talking about the legendary, really quite legendary, I would say, Gordon Lightfoot. How about Gordon Lightfoot? There was a time where that 70s music, you would just be like, kind of made fun of all that light 70s music. You know, like I said, we were talking about yacht rock and that music that you station on Sirius Radio. And, you know, when you were in the 80s and stuff like that, it was not cool to be listening to your parents' music because it really was your parents' music, right? They were buying all these records. They had all these albums. But really, it's kind of a soundtrack to my childhood a little bit. But then I kind of skated through most of the 80s, but I revisited him in the late 80s, probably the early 90s, more like it. And I was like, wow. I bought his greatest hits CD, and Gord's Gold, and I just loved it. So we've been listening to him ever since. Sarah and I are big fans. We'll talk about that in a minute. But he's got 6 decades of contributions to music. 200 recordings, dozens and dozens of artists have recorded his songs. Bob Dylan, I'd say if he was going to pick one compliment, it would be from Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan says, "I can't think of a song by Gordon Lightfoot that I don't like. Every time I hear one of his songs, I wish it would go on forever." How about that from Bob Dylan? I mean, he's got to write that on his tombstone. That's it. That's all he's got to do. Born November 17th, 1938, he was a child performer. His mother recognized him as someone who could sing, I gather, and started him very young, doing various things. Even by age 12, he performed at Massey Hall in Toronto. The reason why I know what Massey Hall is because there's a epic and legendary recording of Neil Young live at Massey Hall when he was like 21 years old, debuting many of his songs that would become icons in history. It's like a 3,000 seat arena. Anyway, he went to McGill School of Music and then moved to California. Went to school there and started writing. He was really known mostly for writing songs. He wrote so many songs that other people recorded. That's what he did mostly through the 60s. He was also becoming a well-known live performer. But he wasn't necessarily, other than in Canada, he wasn't necessarily breaking through with record success, but he was known as a live performer. One of the recordings I listened to on YouTube goes back to him at 1967 singing a song that I did not know was that old, and seeing how young he is singing it. And then he re-recorded a lot of them for his greatest hits, that Gord's Gold. So the Gord's Gold stuff is some of his earlier stuff when he's a little bit older. He finally, 1970, managed to get a hit with If You Could Read My Mind. It was actually a song that was on one of his prior albums, but he switched labels and they put out a greatest hits, and it became a hit, sold 1 million copies. That's one of the first songs I ever heard from him. Actually, much later, he would file a lawsuit against the composer of that of the song that of the Greatest Love of All. Is that the one? Whitney Houston. Also done by George Benson. And they settled out of court, and the composer apologized. I do also remember late 70s. My mom had a record collection, and I remember becoming a little obsessed with the song The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, just because I love that it told a story And when you're, a 12-year-old boy, if it involves a sinking ship, then that's really, really cool, right? But the story goes that he read a story in Newsweek magazine about the whole thing, right, the month that it happened, 1975, November, and he wrote the lyrics based on that story. And he's become a part of the memorial for that on a regular basis, and is friendly with a lot of the surviving family members from that tragedy. He would go on in the 70s after that Greatest Hits came out, and after If You Could Read My Mind, he would just churn out song after song after song. I mean, he pretty much owned the 70s with his music, did he not? I mean, he's got some really great songs, and to this day, if it's Sunday, we put on Gordon Lightfoot Radio on Pandora, and you're all set. So let's talk about some of his songs. Basically, you just pull up Gord's Gold, and you listen to that, and you're all set. Really, I mean, that's basically what you really need. So I'm not saying Early Morning Rain, that's a great song. For Loving Me, Did She Mention My Name? I mean, I love all these songs. Song for a Winter's Night, that's the one that I heard in his 1967 version, which is funny because it's just very different. The one that I hear on Gord's Gold is a little bit older, and they added some bells in the background. It always reminds me of Christmas, that song. And Sarah McLachlan does a version of that that's pretty good too. Canadian Railroad Trilogy, Softly, Steel Rail Blues, Where Love and Why, Bitter Green, Minstrel of the Dawn, Beautiful, that one was on the radio, right? If You Could Read My Mind, obviously. Summer Side of Life, Rainy Day People, you don't hear that one enough. Cotton Jenny, Don Quixote, Circle of Steel, one of my favorites right there. Old Dan's Records. Carefree Highway, also one that you just hear, and you never change the channel on that one. You just don't pay attention to who's singing it. And then we have the song of the day today. Wreck of the Image Fitzgerald could be song of the day because it's up there for me for favorite. But really, this song is by far my favorite song by him, and Sarah agrees. And she says that she loves this song because it's got one of the best lines in a song ever. And the line is, sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better when I'm feeling no pain. We're talking about Sundown, and Sundown is going to be our song of the day. That's a great song. What's not to like? I mean, I don't think anyone here is going to rail on Gordon Lightfoot today, right? Because it is Slowdown Sunday, and you're going to enjoy this, right? I think so. So grab that coffee, look out your window, relax. It's a little Gordon Lightfoot, and... right? Man, what's not to like? This is good stuff right here. All right, have a great day. We're at 8 minutes. We're starting Halloween tomorrow, so get ready. It's going to be a good one. We'll talk to you later, and as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.